why your planted tank keeps dying and it's not you. Your planted tank is covered in green algae, your stem plants are melting, and your water turned cloudy weeks ago. You probably think you're not cut out for this hobby. But here's what nobody tells you. Algae and plant death aren't a skill problem. They're a balance problem. A planted tank is a living ecosystem, and the only rule is that light, CO2, and nutrients have to stay in sync. Once you understand that one idea, every mistake you're making and every dead plant starts to make sense. Balance your light first. The biggest mistake in planted tanks starts with light. Most people assume more light equals more growth, so they crank the fixture to max brightness and run it 12 to 16 hours a day. But light is the throttle on the whole ecosystem. Turn it too high without matching CO2 and nutrients, and you grow algae faster, not plants. Here's the mechanism. Algae and plants both need light to photosynthesize, but algae is simpler. It doesn't need as much CO2, doesn't need as much fertilizer, and doesn't root. So when your light outpaces your CO2 and nutrient supply, plants can't use all that light energy, but algae can, and you get a green bloom while your plants starve. The fix has 3 parts. First, match light intensity to your plants. Low light plants like anubias need 20 to 40 micromoles per second per square meter, while high light plants like glossostigma need 40 to 80. So start with a modest LED at 12 inches above the water and raise it only if the plants tell you they need more light. Second, run a timer set for 6 to 8 hours a day at the same times every day. Consistency matters far more than duration. So pick a time and stick to it. And third, dim or raise your light before maxing it out, starting at 30 to 40% brightness and only raising it week by week if plants actually need it. Plant in real substrate. The second mistake is using the wrong substrate. If you set up with plain gravel, play sand, or bare glass, root-feeding plants like swords, crypts, and anubias have almost no way to get the nutrients they need, and they'll slowly decline no matter how much fertilizer you add to the water. Root-feeding plants get most of their nutrients from soil, not water column, so in bare gravel they starve for iron, magnesium, potassium, and trace minerals. After a few weeks they yellow, melt, or stop growing, and water column feeders like fast stem plants decline more slowly but still suffer. The fix is a nutrient-rich substrate. Use aquasoil like Eta Amazonia or fluval stratum, which releases nutrients for 6 to 12 months and feeds roots directly. Or if you want to keep existing gravel, cap it with 2 inches of aquasoil or push fertilizer root tabs directly next to heavy feeders like swords. Aquasoil does break down and compact over 2 to 3 years, so plan to replace it eventually. But for the first year or 2 it's the easiest way to keep root-feeding plants healthy. Don't cheap out on substrate because it's the foundation of your entire system. Dose nutrients to your light level. The third mistake is underdosing or ignoring fertilizers. Plants need nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and iron to turn light into growth, and if those nutrients are missing, plants just sit there while algae takes advantage of the light energy you're giving them. The cost of underdosing is slow decline. Leaves pale and shrink. New growth gets stunted, and the tank never takes off. But here's what beginners miss. Algae is often a signal of imbalance, not overcare, meaning you have excess light without the nutrients to match it. The fix is to dose a balanced all-in-one fertilizer 3 times a week using products like Throttle or APT, and scale your dose to your light level. Low light tanks need 2 to 3 milliliters per 10 gallons 3 times a week, while high light tanks with CO2 need 5 to 10 milliliters per 10 gallons on the same schedule. Don't guess. Measure it out in a syringe, and every couple weeks look at your plants. If new leaves are pale, dose up. If persistent algae appears, dose down, and the tank will tell you when you're in balance. Add CO2 for high light tanks. The fourth mistake is running a highlight tank with no CO2. Carbon is the nutrient plants need most. It makes up roughly 45% of a plant's dry mass. And under bright light, plants can't photosynthesize fast enough without it, so excess light energy goes to algae instead. This is the classic highlight. No CO2 algae explosion. Your light is 60 to 80 micromoles per second. Running 8 hours, nutrients are dosed. But within 3 days you have green film on the glass and plants are gasping for carbon. You can't fix this by adding more fertilizer. You've already got it, so you must inject CO2 or lower your light. The fix? Add pressurized CO2 injection. A cylinder, regulator, and diffuser running at 1 to 2 bubbles per second. Or use liquid carbon supplement like Flourish Excel. Dose daily. Pressurized is more reliable and gives better results, but costs more and needs refills every few months. Liquid carbon is cheaper, but less effective in larger tanks. Or simplest, except low light setup, use plants like Java fern and anubias. Set your light to 20 to 40% brightness for 6 hours, and skip CO2 entirely. The tank will be balanced, plants will thrive, and you won't have algae. Stop rescaping, let it mature. The fifth mistake is the hardest to fix because it's a mindset. Constantly rescaping, uprooting plants, and resetting the tank. But a new planted tank isn't stable for the first 4 to 8 weeks. The nitrogen cycle is still establishing, biofilm is colonizing the substrate, and the balance is fragile. Every time you tear into it, yanking plants, moving hardscape, doing massive water changes, replanting stems, you reset the cycle, release ammonia from the substrate, and flush out bacteria that were settling. So the tank never stabilizes and algae thrives in unstable conditions. The cost is months of algae blooms and melting plants while you keep tearing it apart trying to fix it. But the fix is patience. Set it up right, then step back and let it run 4 weeks before making changes. Even if plants look wilted or water is cloudy, that cloudiness is bacteria blooming and goes away on its own. If a plant is actually dying, remove only that plant and wait another 2 weeks before replacing it. Resist redesigning, because the faster you let the tank mature, the faster you get past the algae phase into the beautiful stable setup you imagined. And most beginner disaster tanks fail because the owner kept fixing them. Maintain weekly routine. The sixth and final mistake is treating a planted tank as set and forget. A planted tank is a managed ecosystem, not closed, and organic waste builds up. Dead leaves decay. Uneaten food rots. Fish waste accumulates, so if you skip maintenance, excess nutrients spike and you get algae bloom no matter what else you're doing right. The cost of neglect is quick. Algae, cloudy water, stunted plants, and a foul substrate that smells like rotten eggs when disturbed. And it spirals downward because a dirty tank with unstable chemistry makes algae thrive. The fix is a simple weekly routine. Do a 30 to 50% water change once a week at the same time every week. And while you're changing water, prune dead leaves and overgrown stems. Remove the whole yellowed leaf. Don't just trim part of it, and pinch off stem plant tops to encourage branching. Then clean the glass with a scraper, siphon detritus from the substrate, and clean the filter intake tube. This whole routine takes 20 minutes a week, and done consistently, you'll never face the algae and decay spiral that kills beginner tanks, because a planted tank doesn't need tons of work, just consistent work. Here's the one idea that ties every mistake together. A planted tank is a living ecosystem, not a decoration, and light, CO2, and nutrients have to stay in balance. Balance them, and a lush aquascape stops being a mystery. Your first concrete action: grab a timer, put it on your light, and set it for 6 to 8 hours a day. That one change fixes the foundation of everything. The goal isn't perfection. It's managing the balance, and once you accept that, You'll stop chasing perfection and start growing a beautiful tank. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more aquarium guides.